Song choice. He is Moose. I am Keith. It is Moose and Keith. It is Better Sports Network. What y'all thought you wasn't going to see me? The Boston Celtics. How about that? They stay alive, Moose. We got a lot to talk about today. There is LeBron news or non-LeBron news. We could discuss if we'd like. Aaron Judge and the Yankees are the best team in baseball, and he's the best hitter in baseball again, right? The Phoenix Suns seem like they've narrowed things down in their search. Aaron Rodgers needs a Theragun or a Hyper Ice because he needs to, get a deep massage on his calf, and all Jets fans are really, really scared. I think it was the New York Post that the back page, made it look like everything's back to normal again in Jets land. But we start with the Celtics. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. I'm doing good. Looking forward to today's show. Talk a little golf, a little PGA. Dave Barnett will join us 10:30 this morning. Steve Buchanan will join us top of the 11 o'clock hour. So looking forward to those conversations and, give you credit. You were on it. You liked the Celtics last night, on the money line. And there was Boston backs up against the wall. As Jaylen Brown was saying yesterday, don't let us win this game. And I don't know if Miami let them win the game or Boston just took the game. But an impressive performance by the Boston Celtics is they avoid elimination and force a Game 5 back in Beantown Thursday night.
Yeah, it was great on Intentional Talk yesterday on MLB Network. Kevin Millar has been the co-host of that since the inception of it. He started that with Chris Rose. They've moved to Steve Nelson. Now it's Sierra Santos and Ryan Dempster. And I think the trio is doing a fantastic job. They decided to play the sound of Kevin Millar when he was getting interviewed when the Red Sox were down 0-3 to the Yankees back in 0-4. And the whole thing was, don't let us get one. And the guy goes, all right. But he's like, no, I'm just saying, don't let us get one. We got PD, meaning Pedro Martinez, going tomorrow. We got Schill, meaning Kurt Schillinger, going in Game 6. Don't let us get one. And that's where, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart saying this clearly – referencing the history of the Boston Celtics. And I don't know if the let them get one thing will work, except for this. Moose, we did this yesterday. If we just took the names of the players on both rosters, you're choosing the Boston roster, correct?
Yeah. Boston's a more talented team.
So if you let the more talented team have any glimmer of hope, is there a chance? I don't know. They haven't been great at home, but they get to go back home. If the Celtics somehow figure out to win tomorrow night, this is a different series.
Well, yeah, then all the pressure swings on the Miami Heat. No question about it. Yeah, I think you could talk yourself into thinking that maybe the impossible does happen and Boston comes back from 3-0 down. It's every comparison is not one and the same. The
Right.
Yankees didn't have starting rotation or had pitching issues. As that series did go along, that was the Bloody Sox series and Kurt Schilling and, watching him warm up and thinking about the procedure he had to be able to, I think it was stabilize like the nerve or the tendon in his ankle in order to be able to go out there and pitch on the mound. And that was, a Boston team that clearly turned around. They also need a little bit of luck. I mean, Dave Roberts with the stolen base and you get the home run by David Ortiz and coming back on Mariano Rivera. I mean, there were things, and give Boston credit. It was an unbelievable, historic comeback, against their hated rival, the New York Yankees, something that haunts Yankee fans until this very day. With all of that, though, yes, Boston's, I think the argument you wake up here on this Wednesday morning, you say to yourself, well, the Celtics are the more talented team. Yeah, they were in Game 1. They were in Game 2, and they were in Game 3. And they lost all three of those games. And Joe Mazzulla got out-coached. Last night, the three-point shots were not falling for the Miami Heat. And we've seen it in these playoffs when they're not knocking down their threes and they have a cold shooting night. The Miami Heat looked like the team that was, a decidedly average team during the course of the regular season. I love the messaging from Jimmy Butler after the game, coming to the podium and basically, singing the Bob Marley, everything's going to be all right. Don't worry. And I don't think the Miami Heat are playing in any kind of fear or concerned about going to Boston. Number two is Celtics have been a terrible home team in the playoffs.
Exactly.
I mean, they have, it's not like they've been the Denver Nuggets. It's not like they've been, the one of these teams that's just unbeatable at home. Boston's lost a lot of games at home in the postseason over the last few years. So I don't think Miami goes into tomorrow night, but yeah, Boston's got a little extra pep in their step. Brown said, don't let us win that game. Maybe we get a historic comeback. I think in all likelihood, when you look at teams that are down 3-0 in the history of the NBA playoffs, only 3 have ever forced a game 7. That's it. I think out of like 149 or whatever it is, playoff series, the Celtics have got a ton of work to do. I mean, they really do. I give them credit for the victory last night. I give you credit for backing the Boston Celtics. I wish you got them at plus 146.
I know. I wish I did too.
That night, but you didn't. But still, it's a hell of a pick nonetheless. They are the more talented team. That's the argument to be made. See, like if we're going to draw a comparison, because you mentioned the Lakers, as I heard some pundits before Game 4 of the Lakers Nuggets series saying, "Well, listen, I can still see a pathway for the Lakers," and that was completely unfounded and just kind of desperation belief in LeBron James because Denver's more talented. Denver's a better basketball team. Now, roles reversed. Miami's up 3-0 in this series. And usually the team that is down 3-0 in the series is usually the less talented team. I mean, that's usually the case, right? More often than not, not every single occasion, but more often than not, you're the less talented team. Not in this instance. I don't disagree with you. I think Miami's the more talented. I think Boston's the more talented basketball team. However, they have not played consistently well. Yeah. I mean, you want to make the argument that they're down 3-0. They needed to be down 3-0. Backs up against the wall. Tatum's unbelievable. Brown, we know how good they are. They're 2 all-NBA players. They really are. It's stunning that the Celtics are in the position that they are in. Going into the conference finals, they were the betting favorite in all markets. They were basically even money to win the NBA title. And here they are still down 3-1 after the victory last night. They showed you a little heart, makes it an interesting Game 5 tomorrow night up in Beantown. I'm happy we have more basketball because it would have been a chasm, a massive break until the NBA finals get going. So it's great we got another basketball game to watch tomorrow night. Don't disagree if the Celtics should win tomorrow night. I mean, then it's all the pressure in the world goes to Miami.
All right, so a few things for you. If you believe the history is going to happen, just throwing it out there, the Celtics to win this series are plus 230. Okay, so if you believe in it,
that's not enough.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be higher. I thought
plus 230 to do something historic is.
I thought it was going to be 4-1. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean that's not enough bang for your buck.
All right, so let's talk about the Boston Celtics this year. So 10 times this year, they've won at least 3 games in a row. 5 times this year, they won at least 4 games in a row. And they had 2 winning streaks of more than double digits. So all I'm saying is they're not averse to winning 4 games in a row. The next thing I will say is that this Boston Celtics team was also down to the Philadelphia 76ers in a series where they're down 3-2 and going to Philly. They're supposed to lose at that point. They're going to lose at that point. Jason Tatum was 1 for 14 or 1 for 15, whatever it was, going into the fourth quarter, has a big fourth quarter, wakes up, then drops 51 points in game number 7. I'm just trying to draw comparisons here to help us with a storyline, right? So Jason Tatum, yesterday's game, in the first half, he had, 8 points? Didn't play very well. Ends up going up for 26 points in the second half. Was this the awakening in this series for Jason Tatum? Was this an awakening for the role players for the Boston Celtics? Grant Williams, Al Horford, they each go to double digits in points. And you had those two and Tatum and Derek White and I believe Marcus Smart all hit at least 3 3-pointers in the game. 18 threes in totality. So the question becomes, is this blip on the radar where the Celtics finally played good ball for a game and they're not going to be able to do it 3 more times in a row? Or was it an awakening? If I'm a Miami fan, I'm afraid it's an awakening. I'm scared today if I'm a Heat fan. I am.
I don't know. They've played so well. See, it's almost like nobody wants to believe what Miami has been able to accomplish. Like, and even if you go to the betting line tomorrow night, I mean,
7.5 point favorite Celtics.
It's up to 8.
Oh,
I mean,
the Celtics. Wow.
The Celtics are an 8-point favorite. At home, where they've been terrible at home. They've been remarkably inconsistent. They've gotten out coached in this series for the most part. I get you get Tatum and Brown, but still, I mean, you're not, I'd take Miami in the 8 points any day of the week and twice on Sunday. I understand what you're saying about, if I were a Heat fan, I'd be nervous. They played too well. There were people let's be honest, when they were up 3-1 against the Milwaukee Bucks, there were people telling you I'd bet anything on the Bucks go out there and win that series.
Yeah.
The Bucks are still going to win that series in 7 games. They eliminated them in 5. Then it was taken on the Knicks, and I was at fault for this. I thought the Knicks were going to win that series. They took care of business against the Knicks in 6, and by far they were the better basketball team. For large stretches of this series against Boston, they've been the better basketball team. Now, Boston's more talented, and maybe it is an awakening. Maybe it is a case of this is going to be another, historic moment for the city of Boston and for Boston sports. I'm just not there yet. I think it would be fascinating if Boston wins tomorrow night. I wouldn't guarantee Boston winning tomorrow night because we've seen this team be Jekyll and Hyde too many times during the course of, the last 3-4 months to believe that now all of a sudden, it's all click. Plus, I think Miami's a pain in the rear end. I do think in a way, shape, or form, Spoelstra led into it a little bit in the fourth quarter last night where, he was asked early, he's like, our guys really want it. They need to settle down. I think the Miami Heat, I think a lot of those guys were probably dead nervous. Not Butler. I'm talking about some of the other players on that team were dead nervous about trying to finish that game off last night and didn't play the way that they played and played a little tight and didn't play loose and didn't play aggressive and didn't do all those little things. And I think they're going to come out and learn from that experience and be better for it. Now, can Boston overcome that? Yeah, for sure. You look at that. They're a very, very gifted and talented team. But the group that's played the best or better in this series has the 3-1 series lead. And now all of a sudden Boston is going to play this consistent level of basketball. Would it be all that surprising if Boston wins game 5 and Miami wins game 6? It wouldn't even be stunning to me if Boston won game 5 and 6 after winning game 4. And then Miami goes into Boston in a game 7 and finds a way to win with Jimmy Butler having an unbelievable game. Nothing would surprise me.
Yeah.
And, listen, I think everybody and their mother at that stage would be on the Boston Celtics, and I can understand that. I think Boston would probably win the basketball game. But would it be all that surprising if Boston laid an egg in a game 7 at home and they have a bad shooting night from the outside, as reliant on the three-point shot as they are?
Yeah.
I think Miami's going to learn from it. That's the way I look at it. I think it adds a little level of intrigue. We got no intrigue in the Western Conference Finals. Now we got a little bit of intrigue in the East.
Yeah, we don't have any intrigue in hockey either right now. Oof. My goodness, the Stars laid an egg last night, huh? But anyway, all right. So back to the Heat. My gut tells me that Boston wins tomorrow night. By the way, minus 310 on the money line. So you lost all your value on the Boston Celtics. It's just not there. My gut tells me Celtics win tomorrow night, and then my gut tells me that Miami probably wins at home in game 6, and Boston just makes this an interesting series. Let's hear from Jimmy Butler, or Himmy Butler, as we like to call him.
Jimmy, it's only one loss, obviously, but is there any concern on your part that this could start to build momentum on the Boston side of things?
No. If anything, it'll build momentum for us, knowing that we have to play with a lot more energy. And, we got to play like our backs are against the wall. But I think all year long we've been better and able to do things the hard way.
I love that shirt, by the way. I need that.
Yeah. Well,
I would wear that shirt.
I'm sure you would.
Speaking of, I'd like to give a shout out to this shirt. My Uncle Bobby actually sent me. It's a Coney Island shirt. He just, my Uncle Bobby sent me a package yesterday of T-shirts.
Oh, who doesn't love Coney Island?
Right?
Yes. Who doesn't love Coney Island?
I brought up to Jody yesterday for 4th of July that we should go to the hot dog eating contest. She goes, I don't know.
I agree with Jody. I would pass on that. Watch it on TV.
I know.
Yeah.
Do you watch it?
I have in the past. Yes.
I love
it.
I love it. I live for it.
That would be a disaster. Getting in Coney Island that day, you would curse the high heavens.
I know. It's probably a bad idea, but I kind of want
No, I understand. It's just not worth it. I mean, you want to say it's a life experience for sure, but you have to understand, it's just getting in and out, you'd have to leave at the crack of dawn. Yeah. That would be a nightmare. That really would be. Let's listen to Tatum and Missoula Jason Tatum on Staying Alive. He gave you that virtuoso performance down there in Miami last night. Here's Tatum.
It's, everybody was in good spirits, right? Everybody was upbeat. And, as cliche as it sounds, we just tried to take it one game at a time. We tried to break it down of, we didn't play well those first 3 games. We didn't deserve to win. But, we didn't want that to define us, define the season. And we still got a long uphill battle to go. But tonight was a good start, right? And, just try to carry this momentum towards Thursday.
Yeah, till Thursday up in Beantown. And listen, that's the right messaging from, and they're going to need him to be, as MVP caliber Jason Tatum if they're going to come back and win this series. And he's going to have to be that consistently over the course of 4 quarters, over the course of the next 3 games. How about Joe Mazzulla? Here he is after the game, the Celtics head coach.
The difference today, and what did you see from your group in those moments where you're able to have big responses and turn this game around?
Yeah, I think just that poise, the trust in each other, the connectivity. I think just throughout a game, regardless of how the game was going, that stuff never waned. And so, listen, like when the stakes are really high and you're trying to achieve what we're trying to achieve, it's easy to lose those things, because the guys are playing as hard as they can. And so I just thought regardless of the result, the guys just stuck together.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and now we'll see what happens tomorrow night up in Beantown. Miami,
I thought
an
as much as
8-point dog, up 3-1.
Yeah, as much as the shots were falling for Boston, I also think that a lot of this game was about their defense too, because just watching that game, I thought they forced more turnovers. And when you force turnovers, allows a team like the Boston Celtics to get out in transition. When they're running, you got Jaylen Brown that can slash. That Marcus Smart's not afraid to slash. Tatum can get to the rim. Robert Williams on some lobs. He had 2 of them yesterday. And then obviously when you get out in transition, then you get your guys out on the wings, whether it's, Grant Williams or Derek White or whomever, move them out on the perimeter and allow them to hit some shots. And when all that's going, that's why it's a Boston Celtics team that won almost 60 games this year. It's why it's a Boston Celtics team that came in as the prohibitive favorites in this NBA playoffs. With all that being said, it's still going to be very difficult to win 3 more games in a row.
It is. Yeah. Listen, I think Miami. I mean, eventually,
you think they win tomorrow, don't you? You think they win? You would probably take Miami tomorrow.
I would take them. I would take them. I don't know if I'd take them on the money line. I'd take them with the points.
Okay.
Like I don't know. I'd take them with the points.
Money line, you get plus 250. The points you get minus 110.
No, I know. I don't know if I don't know if I necessarily believe. I mean, by this time tomorrow, I might have convinced myself to take the Heat. I'm not there yet, though.
Yeah, I'm just trying to talk.
No, I know. I'm not there yet. I would probably take Miami right now. I would take Miami in the 8. Like there's just such a level. Like it's just amazing. Like the betting market is just they're just like they were dying to bet the Lakers. Like they're just dying. They're handing you your money with the Celtics. Like they're just dying, even though we haven't learned our lesson from before. The back and forth, the Jekyll and Hyde. When you look at this Boston team. Now it's going to be a case. Well, they are the more talented team for sure. Miami is. I'm giving a team in Miami that dispatched of Milwaukee in 5, that beat the Knicks in 6, that led this series 3-0. I'm giving them 8 points on the road, leading the series 3-1 after a bad Game 4 performance, and don't think Miami can bounce back from that. Like that's a bridge too far for me.
And Jimmy Butler is still playing on the Miami Heat. And Eric Spoelstra is still the head coach.
And Spoelstra's still the coach. Unless something changed. Did something change in the last 12 hours? I mean, did Riley come back?
Spoelstra and Jimmy are gone.
Yeah, right. Did something?
Ronnie Cycli's coaching tomorrow.
Right? Is Sherman Douglas now coaching the team? No. I mean, they still have Jimmy Butler and Spoelstra, right? They're still there, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
But it is I don't know what it was. Maybe it is down 3-0. Maybe it was the embarrassing performance of Game 3. Why you got the Celtic pride last night. They played a lot more intense. They were going after loose balls. They were going after 50-50 balls. White played really, really well last night. Like there's a lot to look at with that Boston team and think that, okay, here we go. This is going to be something that, and Miami clearly, doesn't want to continue to give Boston breaths here as this series goes along. So I think the big thing for Miami tomorrow night is going to be if they knock down outside shots. Like if they hit 8 threes tomorrow night, Boston's going to win, and they're probably going to win by daylight, and they're probably going to cover, the 8-point spread or wherever the spread does end or land on when that game tips off tomorrow night. They got to knock down their 3-point shots. It can't just be Caleb Martin hitting threes from the outside.
Because he went cold in the second half. You got to limit Boston's spurt ability is the word I'm going to use here, because Miami was up by 9 points.
Yes.
In the third quarter. Quickly an 11-0 run, then a 14-0 run, and a 66-43 outscoring by Boston of Miami in the second half. Like, just Miami can't go so cold like that. And we talked about it. Remember game 1? Miami scored, whatever, it was 120-something points. And we said, can Miami continue to do it? And they did. And then they did. And then when they didn't, they score 99, they lose. So I think Miami needs to find themselves in a situation where they need to be around that 107, 108 point plateau. And then they feel like they can hold Boston at bay.
Yeah, that's basically it. And withstand the runs. The one thing you saw from Missoula last night, which has to continue, is using his timeouts properly. And
he has timeouts.
He doesn't like to use them. He likes the guys to figure out on the court. But when Miami gets scorching hot, you see a lot of coaches do it. Spoelstra does it. Missoula has had a hindrance to doing it. You
think Al Horford said something to him? Like, hey, Joe.
Maybe he did. Yeah. I mean, you can use those timeouts. It's A-okay. When they're on like a 12-0 run and we look lethargic, maybe it's time to – I thought it was an interesting timeout when they were down 3 after back-to-back Tatum threes. Negated a 9-point Heat lead. And he called the timeout there. Then right out of the timeout, Tatum drilled the 3. I mean, to tie the game up as he hit, I think, 3 consecutive 3-point shots. So there you have it, the Eastern Conference finals. There will be a game 5 tomorrow night up in Boston. What do you make of yesterday, Rob Pelinka, the general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers? Number one, saying that he wants to hold on to his young guys or his young core players on the Los Angeles Lakers. Number 2, saying our hope is that LeBron James continues his career.
All right, so let's go with your first question, and then I'll go to the second one. The first one, I've heard general managers and coaches and organizations say that on LeBron-led teams often, and also other teams as well, but LeBron-led teams. I don't believe him at all. Maybe he wants to keep Austin Reeves if possible. I think that's true, but I think he likes Rui, but Rui could be gone if it meant getting someone else, and Vanderbilt can be gone if it meant getting someone else, and Beasley can be gone if it meant getting someone else. Yeah. Now to the LeBron thing. Rob Pelinka was an agent, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, he knows the art of dealing.
He was Kobe's agent, was he not?
Yeah. He was Kobe's agent, yes. So Pelinka knows how to walk up to, a desk and to a table and sit down with brass and discuss money and options and whatnot. So Pelinka's playing the game also. As far as I can believe, he does not believe that LeBron James is stepping away. I mean, listen, all the players in the exit interviews, by the way, LeBron was the only Laker that did not go to the exit interviews yesterday. And Pelinka and Darvin Ham both came out and said, it's okay for someone like LeBron, who's been around for as long as he has earned the right to take a few more days before he has to come in and discuss his future with us, and we can discuss his future with him. I think that Pelinka is playing the game correctly. He wants to make sure he doesn't tick off LeBron James and make LeBron, think further about this. This is a movie, I think. I think that's what we're doing. And Kendrick Perkins also yesterday on NBA Today, right? On the 3 p.m. show. I had it on while I was getting the kids.
Kendrick was one of the ones who had utmost confidence in the Lakers after game 1, by the way.
He was.
Very confident.
But he also... What I'll say is this. This is what I thought was correct, because he knows LeBron, right? They played together for a little bit. He knows him for a while. He said there's no way that LeBron James is leaving without a retirement tour.
I just think I would agree with that.
Right?
I think
could you see LeBron being like, yeah, I'm out? No, he's going to want everyone
Yeah,
to
to
give him
genuflect.
gifts at every
Yeah,
single
right.
like, oh, it's the last
Thank
time
you.
I'm in Utah.
Oh,
Remember the
yes.
time that like I had
Oh, look,
saltwater
it's
taffy
LeBron's
in
last trip
Utah?
to the Garden. Oh, here, look at
Yeah.
this.
Here's some pizza for you,
Here's some gifts.
LeBron.
Here's a rocking chair
Yes.
made out of
Oh,
NBA
last time we're
hardwood.
playing
Oh,
in
look at this.
Indiana.
Yay.
Yeah, Larry Bird's gonna come say goodbye to
No,
you. I
right.
don't know, you know?
Maybe all
Yeah.
these places will start retiring his number. Which number will you retire? That's the question.
Every
Yeah,
number he
every
won.
number, right. It should just be every number
Yeah.
moving forward. Yeah.
Actually, nobody
I
should be
mean,
able to be in the NBA if their
let's
name
be
starts
honest.
with L
He's
anymore.
using the leverage he has to get the Lakers to get the players he wants in Los Angeles. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
if he
it.
wants
I
Kyrie,
mean,
that's what this is about.
right.
If he wants
It's
this, that's what this is
also,
about. Yeah.
and we'll see if we can get it. But I mean, I love what Barkley basically said. What I said yesterday on TNT last night. I mean, saying ripping LeBron, saying, "Can you?" Last night he goes, "I went to bed 2 nights ago." Here it is. Here's Barkley on LeBron.
I didn't see this. All right, good.
Here's
Let's
Barkley
go.
on LeBron. Take a listen.
So mad this morning, I actually turned the TV off because the Denver Nuggets, who have been the best basketball team in the world all season, sweep, get to the finals for the first time. Now, you know Mike Malone, I love him, but he's whiny. But he does have a point.
No, he has a great point.
He has a great point.
No, a great point.
I mean, that's like, and I love Mike Malone. I cannot wait.
Michael Malone. If you really love him, call him Michael.
Okay. Michael Malone. I can't wait to get to Denver. Hey, Sean Payton, I got your text. You and Payton, we're playing Castle Pines. I'm ready.
He's all over the
But
place.
No,
I know.
No, but I was so glad. I was so mad watching TV this morning to everything. And listen, we all love LeBron. He didn't say he was retiring yet. When he does that, we'll do all that stuff. But it should have been all about the Denver Nuggets and Joker, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter, and those guys.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like I'm watching you speak.
well, he's 100% right. Listen, I'm not going to be going playing golf with Sean Payton at some country club in the Colorado area. God bless. That's fantastic. And I love Charles Barkley. I've said it before. You love Barkley. And that's and the other aspect of it with the fact that we have another game is we're going to see those guys again for another game, which I absolutely adore and love watching the post-game show.
I like Shaq. He's all over the place.
Yeah, he is. He's all over the place. No, he's not. Right. He's 100% correct. It's basically what I said yesterday. And not to pat myself on the back, but I was like, how come there was no time spent on the team that actually swept away the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals?
Yeah.
It was all about LeBron and conjecture, and he's not retiring. Can we stop the nonsense? Whether it be, listen, like the idea of LeBron, he's using his leverage and the fact that he's older as an angle for the Lakers to basically mortgage everything to try and win a title next year. Can we all just see through the nonsense for a second?
We all do see the nonsense, but hey, listen, it's a story.
It's really not though. Like it's really not. Like, wouldn't it be refreshing if someone would be like, yeah, that's not happening.
But I think people have, right? I actually think
Not
that's
real-
the story.
They spent an hour breaking it down yesterday all over the place before they ever talked. They didn't even talk about Denver.
On which channel?
On ESPN. Say you flipped on ESPN yesterday morning. It was all about LeBron James and his retirement.
NBA TV did not. I actually flipped over to NBA TV after the Nuggets won, right? So I typically, this is what I do. And maybe this is, like whatever, but I personally, for playoff stuff, ESPN's fine. They're great at what they do in general. But when I want coverage of a specific sport, I'm going to that network. So like, same way, like NHL Network. All right. Yeah. And I know I work for them, but whatever. But like when we're doing Stanley Cup coverage and the Stanley Cup playoffs or the final is on whatever channel it is, the minute that's over, I'm watching NHL Network for their coverage post-game wise. I'm not watching ESPN or TNT or whatever. Even though like TNT, I love Liam McHugh. He's a great guy, friend of mine. But I'm tuning into the specific network. And that's why I turned to NBA TV. They did nothing but coverage about the Nuggets. And I appreciate
great. That's fantastic. But it's also, and it's owned by the NBA as well. So they're going to be fair and balanced when they look at it, right? Yeah. So they don't necessarily have to try and play the hits because ratings aren't necessarily, the thing that they're listen, they want people to watch, but you get the point.
Yeah.
Listen, what Barkley had to say last night was dead on correct. I mean,
he nailed it.
You can hold on to the retirement stuff for another day. I mean, you really can. and he's not. By the way, he's not retiring. We'll
No.
come back. Dave Barnett, Tour Junkies, is
Dave
gonna
Barnett's
join
not
the-
retiring either. He's not.
No. Barnett, Tour Junkies, is going to join us next. It's Moose and Keith with you on this Wednesday. Happy Hump Day, everybody! Right here, Better Sports Network.
Vegas Raiders have traded up to 35, and they give up the 38th overall pick. In addition, a 5th-round pick goes to Indianapolis as the Colts trade down. The pick is in. And, Coop, your top 2 tight ends, best tight ends available, are now off the board as Michael Mayer is going to be the Darren Waller replacement in Las Vegas, catching balls from Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe somebody else in the future. But Michael Mayer is off the board. The Raiders have traded up, and I always look at this too from like dynasty fantasy football standpoint. I always like the guys that are traded up for. Michael Mayer gets traded up for as he is off the board now at pick 35. He goes to the Raiders. How does he fit in this system? Not only with Jimmy Garoppolo, but also Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, some significant pass catchers there, including Hunter Renfrow now.
Eric, I love that you pointed that out because that's the part of the draft that people forget when they're doing their analysis. They think about the draft capital, they think about the landing spot, they forget the draft narrative, right? This proves to us that the Raiders, at the very least, had Michael Mayer as high as Sam Laporta, or maybe even higher, because they're looking around and saying, all right, that guy's gone. We have to get this guy right now. And this guy probably is a better fit for what Josh McDaniel wants to do. He's used to Rob Gronkowski. He's used to Hunter Henry, these two-way tight ends that can block and run routes down the seam. Sam Laporta is not going to do that. He's only 240 pounds. This guy is your prototypical real-life tight end. That's why a lot of people were saying he's the best real tight end in the draft. Clearly, pass catching is at a premium. That's why Dalton Kincaid and Sam Laporta went first. But this guy's going to fit really well into that scheme. My question is, when does he become fantasy relevant? Because the vast majority of tight ends that are fantasy relevant are top 2 targets on their team, with Devontae Adams there and Jacoby Myers there,
that's not happening.
and Hunter Renfrow there. I mean, when does it happen, Moose? How long do we have to wait?
Yeah, forever. It might be a while. I mean, when you look at it, but I do think he's a great fit. All right, Dave Barnett is with us now, Tour Junkies. It's Moose and Keith with you on a Wednesday right here, Better Sports Network. Good morning, Dave. How are you? I don't hear anybody.
There we go. Sorry. Amateur hour.
We got you, Dave.
There we go. Beautiful. All right.
Dave, I want to read you something really fast. All right, we're going to go totally crazy off the board here.
Can't wait.
5 reasons why LeBron James will not retire, because I know you're really in on this. He has a lot left in the tank. You would agree? Just yes, no for each one.
Yes.
Thank you. He will need a farewell tour.
Yes.
The money, he's owed $46.9 million next year, and then has an option for $50.6 the next year.
Sounds like 49 million reasons.
Yep. Pressure play. He's essentially trying to be general manager here and, put pressure on the upper management to get the players he wants.
I know nothing about it, but okay.
Sure. And then the final one, the Bronny dream. He's hoping that in 2024 he could play with his son.
Yeah. He wants to do the King Griffey Jr., King Griffey Sr. deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. I agree with that. 100%.
Right. Good. I bet you didn't expect us to open up with LeBron James with you, did you?
No. I'm not I'm not that guy. I don't know a lot about it. I don't know. But it was great.
Dave, can I ask you a question, right?
Yeah.
I know you and Keith text.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Right? So would you consider you and me to be friends?
Yeah. Internet friends, yeah. Yes, I would, Moose. Yeah.
No, I'm just
Are you asking me for my number?
No. I got your number yesterday from
Oh!
and I shot you a text, and there was no response.
Somebody may have given you the old wrong number situation there, Moose.
Really?
Yeah.
Can
I stand up for my good friend Dave Barnett? Can I stand up for him? He responds to text really quickly.
Yeah, I do. I'm a responder.
You're a responder. So I'm not going to spit out the number.
You should totally say it on the air. Yeah,
thank you. Do not do that.
I'm not going to do that. Does the area code start with a 7?
Jeez, don't do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, somebody could have given you a wrong situation, Moose. I don't know that.
Did you recently change your number?
No, I've had the same number since I got a cell phone when I was like 14 years old.
I got it from Deutsch.
Mark, I hope I didn't overstep any bounds. Mark, I just sent you Barnett's number officially. Let's see if it matches what Deutsch sent you. because I have the real phone. Maybe Deutsch has a fake number for Barnett
I'll
too.
I'll make this easy, Moose. I'm kidding. I got your text, but I did not respond on purpose, so I could play this trick on you and be like, "Dude, Keith gave you the wrong number on purpose."
Oh.
But I got your text. I saw you, buddy. We're here. We're good.
I was like, wait a second, and I wasn't even, I
I
wasn't.
almost responded. I was like, "No, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make it look like," because I thought like Keith may have given you the number, and I was like, "I'm going to make Keith."
No, I would have never given your number out. I'm
going to make
not
you
that
look.
guy.
You just did it like 30 seconds ago. You just
Yeah,
put the
right.
number to it.
I don't know what
Exactly
you're talking
right.
about. I did it for
Exactly
TV
right. That's it.
I was like, I'm going to make it look like Keith gave him the wrong number, and we'll keep this thing rolling.
So I texted Barnett because my wife took the boys out to go get a haircut, and the guy.
You were lonely and you wanted to talk to Dave.
No. There was a guy beforehand that was there was a PGA golfer, a professional golfer, right? And well, that's what the guy Giuseppe told.
I don't think it.
And so I texted Barnett. I was like, because Donna texted me, I'm like, I have no idea who the hell that is. I go, but I do know somebody, my friend Dave, who basically knows every golfer known to man throughout the continental United States and throughout the world. Let me text Barnett. And so I asked Deutsch for your number, and I text Dave. I send the picture over, and then there was just no response. I'm like, maybe Dave's busy. Maybe Dave's ghosting me. Maybe I did something to offend Dave. Maybe there was something that went down that there was no response whatsoever. I'm like, maybe. And then I honestly thought maybe you changed your number, and I just texted somebody, and they're like, who the F is this? Like, I have no idea who the hell is
I did think about doing that too, like just kind of acting like I had no idea. I'll tell you, I looked at the picture. I looked at the dude's face in the mirror. That is not a PGA Tour professional.
Okay.
It could have been, because last week at the PGA Championship, it's run by the PGA of America. One of the biggest stories of last week was Michael Block, the PGA teaching professional. There were 20 PGA teaching professionals that qualified to play in that tournament. The guy in that photo, if he played in that tournament, that is who he is. He's some sort of teaching pro that qualified.
Oh, gotcha.
He's not a tour pro, or I would have recognized him, and I do not recognize him.
Why can't we get you to get an exemption and get into one of these?
Keith, you know how good these dudes are? Like these guys, even the guys that qualified and didn't make the cut, those guys are really freaking good to be able to qualify. I am not that good. However, I did have my member last weekend, boys, which is a major tournament in your golf club scene, the member. And for the first time, me and my boy, Stuart Price, won our flight, made the shootout, advanced to the shootout, finished top 5, made some cash, had the juices flowing, the nerves going. It was a great weekend. So I did play good in that.
How many?
Wow.
Is that 4 days or is that?
It's just 2 days. It's 2 days. It's like 5 matches and then a shootout. So it was awesome.
Wow. And how many times have you been in this?
This is the 5th time. Well, so I've played 3 member guests, which is the other major. I've played 3 member guests where Pat is my guest. And I'm never going to go very far because Pat's my guest. And then this is my
nice guy, though. Nice guy.
Yeah, great guy. This is my 2nd member. And this is the first time we've won our flight and made the shootout out of my 5 times. So
it officially means that you'll never let Pat be a member, because then you'll be forced to go member with him, and then you have 0 chance.
Yeah, that would not be. If I had to do member and member guests with, well, I guess it wouldn't be a member guest situation. I mean, it would be fine as long as he's only my partner for one of them, and then I know we're just gonna have a good time. We're not gonna win anything on that one. Then it's fine. But
Dave, I thought we were gonna get Hovland home. 32-1.
Dude, I know. God,
like I mentioned it to you last week when you were on the show with us, and I was like, Hovland played well day 1, day 2, hanging around, going into the final round Sunday, up there at Oak Hill in Rochester. I thought we were going to get Hovland.
Yeah, man.
I really did.
Me too. I mean, the guy played so good. He's close. He's really close. I think that kid's going to get one before too long. He's getting better and better in major championships. I thought we'd have it too. Now, we talked about Brooks Koepka. I don't know if we talked about him on this show, but we talked about him on the podcast. Had a bunch of people hit the Brooks number at around 22-1 early on Sunday and Monday before the tournament because he's just a killer in majors. He really is. So, we still had plenty of people win off of that, but Hovland was the first name on my Big Balls betting card because Brooks was too short of a number to make it on that card. And it would have been nice to have that Hovland hit, but it didn't happen. I did do quite well in the top 20 in head-to-head market though last week. I won like 6 units. I won 6 units on the head-to-heads and top 20s last week. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
What did this do for Brooks Koepka's name, honestly?
I mean, honestly, like Brooks already had 4 majors, which is the same amount as Rory McIlroy and more than Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas and you name it, right? He was already there and he was already kind of this major killer, but had lost a little bit of the luster because he dealt with the injury and then he went to live. But this now puts him in a different class. Now he has more than Rory. He has 5. And he's creeping up there. I mean, he gets another one. I think it's way up there. This does a lot for Brooks. It did a lot for Liv. Really did a lot for Liv. I mean, the fact that he finished runner-up at Augusta, losing to Jon Rahm on the final day, comes to PGA and wins kind of handily on Sunday. And dude, I mean, the U.S. Open is also a perfect. I mean, Brooks is good for any type of major setup. That's what we've seen throughout his career. He can play an Open Championship in brutal conditions, links golf. He can play Augusta because he has all the distance, all the short game necessary at Augusta. He can play a U.S. Open or PGA setup when it's difficult and it's brutal and you just got to make your pars and grind. He can do all of them. I mean, you don't want to overreact, but I mean, Brooks he could double his major count if he stays healthy over the next 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing when you think about it. And Koepka, at one point in time, didn't think he was going to be able to compete because of where he was physically on majors. And you heard the same thing from Bryson DeChambeau as well. When over this past weekend up in Rochester about being healthy and getting healthy and where his game is right now. As far as Liv goes, though, Dave, the issue is, though, for me, is there's no meaning to any of the tournaments.
Yeah.
Like that's the issue. There's no doubt you have Koepka. I mean, and he's a huge name, whether he won this past weekend or not, and having Dustin Johnson there and having Mickelson there and having Sergio there and some of the older guys, but some of the guys that are obviously in their prime. The issue, though, is there's no Wanamaker trophy.
Yep.
There's no green jacket. There's none of that. And listen, golf, watching, great golfers go and play on a beautiful course. You can find worse times to spend your day. The pressure is not there like you saw this past weekend when you're watching the back 9 at Oak Hill in Rochester. And Liv is not going to be able to replicate that because the history is not there.
You are 100% correct. I just talked about this on a show I did yesterday with our friends at SoBet. The thing that Liv will never be able to get unless they survive another, honestly, probably 30 plus years is historical context, because you can't just create that. Now they could go to some historical courses. They could get land certain courses that have been on the PGA Tour rotation or major championship rotation, and we could go, oh, I'm familiar with that course. But you don't have that historical context. Now, I will say this, though. The majors are all independent majors. They are not PGA Tour events. They are not Live Tour events. They never will be. They will be independent majors. So as long as Live players continue to be allowed to qualify for these things, which is where the World Golf Ranking points means a lot, as the years go by, less and less of them are going to be able to qualify unless the World Golf Ranking system changes. So as long as the World Golf Ranking system adjusts and they're allowed to qualify based on their performance on Live, we will continue to get these guys in every major, just like we do the PGA Tour players. If we want to compare apples to apples, Live Tour versus PGA Tour, you have to look at just PGA Tour events. So none of the majors. You're talking the regular run-of-the-mill events. Like this week, okay, is a great example. You have Colonial Country Club, the Charles Schwab Challenge. Colonial is one of the longest running golf courses to host a PGA Tour event. It was the home course for Ben Hogan. It's got all this history around Ben Hogan. Think of it kind of like Arnold Palmer's event at Bay Hill in Florida when we hit the Florida swing. When you win Bay Hill, the historical context is this is Arnie's place, right? There's the statue of him, and you have the Arnie history, and you put on the red sweater when you win, and it's this whole make me feel good about Arnie stuff. And some people care about that more than others, but there's some context to it. Or Bay Hill, Tiger won a bunch of times, and just you remember that. If Liv survives another 30, 40 years, which I don't know. I mean, if I were betting on it, I'd probably say no. But if they did, it's not going to happen until the next generation comes, and you can go oh, I remember this is where DJ won his first Live event, or Brooks won his first Live event, or Taylor Gooch won in Australia and shot back-to-back 62s. Like that's the only way it's going to happen. They don't have any historical context.
So as the voice of the youth on this show, which is basically what I've always been on Moose and Keith, since I'm so much younger than Moose.
Yeah.
Is there something to be said then about Liv? Let's say it does last for a while, right? That they're blazing their own path, and that maybe like the young fans of sports, you can get those like 12, 13, 14, 18-year-olds to fall in love with golf and then fall in love with Liv instead of the old stuffy PGA.
That's exactly what they are going to lean into, and they are leaning into. And you're right, because like an 18-year-old today they don't have an Arnold Palmer feeling. They don't even have a Tiger Woods feeling, honestly. Maybe, more than likely. They might have seen him win the 2019 Masters and be like, man, that's pretty cool. But they don't have the 96 Tiger Woods feeling, or the 99 2000 Tiger Woods feeling. So that is what they're going to lean into. That's one reason why they're doing the team thing, because the team thing is a differentiator, a concept that's different. Young kids, high school, college, play team golf. They don't play individual golf all the time. They play some team golf. So they're leaning into the team thing. That's why when you go to a Live event, it's golf but louder, right? There's music playing during the tournament rounds throughout the property, just like young people are playing music on the golf course when they play with their buddies. There's, it's more laid back. It's wearing shorts. But it's still high caliber professional golf, and they're playing for a lot of money. So Liv will have to lean into that. And I think that's a good point. And all of that comes to fruition if they survive long enough to see it work out.
And Dave, I'll tell you this. I think if Liv survives, they need their stars to perform every week.
100%. Yeah.
Like, you can't have unnamed guys who haven't won in years. When I'm not rooting against them, but you need Koepka, Dustin Johnson, DeChambeau, Mickelson. Like, you need the big names to be playing well, every single one of them, at least being up there at the top of the leaderboard every single week, because that's going to get people to watch. Like, if you flip on a Live event and you've got some golfer that you would know, Dave, right? But I'm not talking about, I'm talking about the average guy or man or woman at home that's like, who the hell is this? I've never even heard of this. That's not going to work for Live Golf. You need your stars to play like stars.
Yep, you're 100% right. That's something that I think they struggled with a little bit last year. I think it's coming around. If you look at the last few Live events, it's been more star-studded up at the top. There's another Live event going on in D.C. this week at Trump's course in D.C., so it tees off on Friday. DJ won the last Live event on Sunday before the PGA Championship. He was in a playoff with like Cam Smith. So, those guys were coming up, doing their thing. So it's starting. I think the stars kind of didn't show up as much last year. And now I think that's because that has been a very public sentiment. Like, hey, you got to sell me on Live because I'm watching the best players win. When Charles Howell won, when Danny Lee came out and won, everybody's like, what? These guys didn't win almost at all on the PGA Tour. Now they're beating DJ and Cam Smith. What's going on? So I think you're 100% right.
Dave, by
I
the way,
kind of like the party environment, by the way. But anyway, go ahead.
They run. It's
because I could go out on the golf course if I was in Live, right? I could probably wear a tank top and do it.
Go to the golf course as a fan in a tank top?
No. I want to.
No, you can't play the event.
You can't play in a tank top. You have to play in a collared shirt. And
why?
Don't disrespect.
What if I have a collared tank top?
A collared tank top. Now that's interesting.
No one's designing.
That would be pushing the boundaries, Keith.
Right?
I would be interested to see that. I told this guy that I did the SoBet show yesterday. He's like 25, 26. And I said, dude, I guarantee you, if you're under the age of 30 and you are a casual golf fan, if you went to a run-of-the-mill PGA Tour event, okay, just regular PGA Tour event, and you went to a Live event, I guarantee you'd have more fun as a fan at the Live event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree.
You would. Now it's different. There's things you can appreciate about both that are different. But there are things that you can do as a fan, experience as a fan at Live that you can't experience as a fan at the PGA Tour. It's just different. But the majority of people under 30 would have, and I've been to a Live event. I've been.
Yeah, so have I. I've been to a Live event.
And I've been to a bunch of PGA Tour events. You would just probably have a little more fun at the Live event.
Yeah, it's just a more chill, relaxed atmosphere.
Yep. That's
As
their
long as that can
target.
be sleeveless.
I mean, that's it. So
Target.
they're looking for the younger golf fan. All right, Dave. Back to Koepka. Did you see him at the Panthers game?
I did.
What do you think Koepka?
Well,
I mean, the fact that he's clapping and not blinking.
like
how drunk was he at the Panthers game?
dude, he was in
Do you think he would realize he was at a
in
hockey?
spirit world. He was somewhere else. Like the eyes were just so.
I know.
He had the ayahuasca from Aaron Rodgers, maybe.
Yeah, he was on the ayahuasca.
Right, exactly. He was something else.
He was talking to like his, great great grandfather in the spirit world. I don't know what he was doing. That was wild.
I thought it was pretty cool after the game where the Kachucks were shotgunning beers out of the Wanamaker Trophy. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, that was
Koepka. We know this. Like Koepka likes to get down. Like he does like to party. He is all business on that golf course. He's very little personality on the golf course. He's very little personality even before or after a round. When he is on site at an event, he is very flat. Like almost seemingly zero personality, very flat. He is all business. He's there to kick ass, take names. He doesn't want to do the dog and pony show with the media and the circus and all that. He's just super flat. But like, you get him if you ever watch him on Pardon My Take. Those boys they're close with Brooks, Big Cat, and PFT. If you ever watch him on Pardon My Take, he looks like he's like a different dude. If you follow him on social or his wife on social at all, and they post like them doing fun stuff or whatever, like he looks like he's got a little bit of personality. But on the the property, he is all business.
Oh, he's got the life. All right, so Dave, before we let you go here, and thank you for texting me back, by the way, during the interview. I appreciate it. I love you too. Thank you. What should we be betting this week?
Love you too. What this went from 0 to
what
60.
What should we text you here? What should we play here? And then in the Charles Schwab Challenge, Scheffler is the top of the line, and then when you look at the betting market, sitting there at 4-1.
Yep. I mean, this is not an elevated event, so it's actually a pretty good field for not being an elevated event. We do get an elevated event next week at Memorial at Jack's Place, so we'll have a lot of studs showing up next week. But the top end of this field is not bad at all. I think because of that, it's really a terrible number on Scheffler at 4-1 because I think he was like 3.5 to 1 a couple of weeks ago, and it was like him and one other person, and he was still at the Byron Nelson. He was still 3.5 to 1. But you got Jordan Spieth, Tony Finau, Victor Hovland, Colin Morikawa, Sung J M, like so a nice top end of this field at Colonial. But the other thing about Colonial is it definitely allows for any type of player to get hot and play well here. I see the winning score kind of being a little bit average PGA Tour event, like the 14 to 17 under or so is probably going to be what we're going to get. The only defense of this golf course is wind in Texas, and there's no wind projected this entire week. So I think these guys will play well. But I wouldn't be touching Scheffler. There's a group at like 30 to 1 that I really like: Justin Rose, Tommy Fleetwood, and Ricky Fowler. And I know those are three names we've probably talked about a lot, but they're in that 30 to 33 to 1 range, most of them. And I mean, Rose is a past champion here. He's playing very well. We saw his name on the leaderboard last week. Tommy Ladd and Ricky are both playing exceptionally well. I know Ricky missed the cut at the PGA, but he missed it on the number, like one shot. And honestly, at a tournament like that with all that variance, you can kind of toss that out the window. He's still playing phenomenal. Had he made the cut, it wouldn't have been hard for him to charge up the leaderboard like a lot of names did and have a good weekend. So to miss it by one shot, I don't care. I think both of those guys are peaking. I don't want to jump off now like I did when freaking Jason Day and Wyndham Clark won a couple of weeks ago.
Michael Block, by the way, getting the exemption in. Just how cool of a story. I mean, 500 to 1 to win. He's not going to win, but how cool of a story is this from?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it was all fun to watch. It was cool. I'm kind of like, I don't think Michael Block is going to be this incredible run of. He's not going to be Happy Gilmore and all of a sudden be on the PGA Tour from doing nothing. Like, yeah, he's probably not going to. I would imagine he's not going to play well right now. I think his miscut number on DraftKings Sportsbook was like -250. So more than likely, the books think the dude's going to miss the cut. Because it was an emotional 4 days. Like, the guy's got to be exhausted mentally and emotionally. So, but it is a great story. He won $288,000.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's amazing. So if you have one bet to make this weekend, I mean, you could dealer's choice, top 5, top 10, top 20. You mentioned you were plus 6 units last weekend, PGA, in your top 20 picks. What would be your one play this weekend for the PGA event?
All right, I'm going to give you kind of a bomb. Plus 210. It's been bet down because I've been talking this guy up a lot. Plus 210, top 40. All you guys do is finish top 40. This kid's name is Carson Young. He's a rookie on the PGA Tour. In his last 4 starts, he has 3 top 20s in his last 4 starts. One of them was at the RBC Heritage in Hilton Head, which was an elevated event, which means he beat a lot of really good players, better than even the field this week. But on Monday, he played in a U.S. Open qualifier in Dallas, which was a 2-round, 36-hole day. He shot 63-62 to set a course record, qualified for the U.S. Open. He beat everyone in the field by 5 shots. There was a lot of PGA Tour players in that field trying to qualify. In fact, Sergio Garcia from LIV qualified that day. So he was hot on Monday. He's been hot on the PGA Tour. I think we keep riding at top 40 plus money, 210. I like Carson Young.
What site am I betting that on?
FanDuel.
All right.
You could shop DraftKings because it has dropped a little bit on FanDuel. It might have a better number somewhere else.
Okay, I'll go to BetStamp and check. Yeah, Carson
Dave
Young,
Barnett,
done.
Tour Junkies. Dave, we appreciate it, brother.
Thanks,
Good luck
boys.
with all your plays this weekend.
Does it, Dave? Before we let you go, does this mean we have to let him moose into our text thread now?
I mean, I feel like we should, Keith.
Okay,
It's just,
all right.
Now it's just.
Okay.
I don't want to send Moose into some sort of I don't want like a Ron Burgundy moment where he's like sad and in a telephone booth.
I was like,
drinking
maybe I insulted Dave last week. I'm just like racking my brain.
You never know.
But I was like, he's busy. Like
I was
he's
just
all
trying
over
to keep
the
the
place.
bit going, Mark. I was busy though.
I understand.
I was
You
busy,
are.
though.
Like I see you all over the place. You're tweeting stuff out. You're giving out golf bets. You're all over the place,
man. Saturday and Sunday, I was dialed. I was member.
I got you. All
Member,
good. Well, congrats on the member top 5 there. And we'll talk to you next Wednesday. All right, Dave?
All right. See you, boys.
What's up, Dave?
You got it. Dave Barnett, Tour Junkies. Fantastic.
Wow. You know what? To be fair, because I knew nothing of that, he fooled me with that also. Like when he was going, he's like, did you text the right number? Like, yeah, I immediately thought that Deutsch must have given you the wrong number by accident. That's what I thought.
Yeah, no, it could have been.
Yeah, of course.
I had no
People
idea.
change numbers. I mean,
Yes.
it happens. I haven't changed mine since I'm 21 years old, but yeah.
We're going to chat with Steve Buchanan, DraftKings
Stevie
Sportsbook.
Bukes.
Yes, he's going to join the program next. It's Moose and Keith with you on a Wednesday right here, Better Sports Network.
Let me talk to you, Vlad, about an award here that I thought was very, very debatable. And it was Cy Young in the National League. In terms of odds, it's Strider at plus 230, Zach Gallen at plus 215, Clayton Kershaw plus 1,000. Clayton Kershaw, to me, his numbers are phenomenal and better, or at least right there with these other two. Strider was my preseason pick to win the award. But Clayton Kershaw at plus 1,000 compared to these other guys with similar numbers in the plus 200s. Like, let's bang on Kershaw and hope he doesn't get hurt, right? Where are you at with that, Vlad?
Yeah, those are great odds. I think the only concern that fantasy players and Dodgers fans had before the season started was innings limitations. Just wanting to make sure that he is fully ramped up for the playoffs. And as some teams do, you sometimes get those phantom IL stints. And we might see that sometime maybe around the All-Star break with Kershaw just to preserve his arm over the second half of the season. But, man, he's a great pick. If you're telling me those are the odds, that's really, really nice. I do love your Spencer Strider pick. I think that's what I would have done in the preseason and bet on him. He's an absolute beast. So, but Clayton Kershaw at plus 1,000, those are phenomenal odds. And you mentioned Zach Gallen. He's incredible too. And looks like Arizona has been in the hunt there in the playoff. Well, so far it's early. Dodgers, maybe Padres will be in competition for that division. But yeah, that's a nice 3-way race, and we might see some other players pop in there.
Bye weeks are so incredibly important in best ball because you can't change your lineup. You can't grab somebody off the waiver wire. You don't make changes. So you've got to be prepared. If you're taking 4 quarterbacks because you want to be sure you got to be very methodical about the schedule, especially the bye weeks.
Yeah, that's a good point by you because I don't, in redraft leagues and in especially in dynasty leagues. I don't give a damn about bye weeks in a dynasty league. I'm taking the talent that I need, especially if it's like a startup dynasty league, man. And so, that's created situation. Matt Deutsch's league last year, I had a glut of, it was like week 9, I seem to remember. It was the bye week of death for me. Like, it's a 2-quarterback league. I had a bunch of QBs. They were like all on the bye at the same week. It was insane. At best ball, you've got to really be strategic about that, and it's almost more important than the statistics that you might put next to the player as the bye week to let you know, no, I can't go there because I got this guy, this guy, and this guy already.
You have an opportunity to get a quarterback you want, but your first 2 have the same bye week. You just can't do that to yourself. You have to be thinking it through. I do pay attention to bye weeks in my drafts. I just do. It makes me a lot less of a struggle bus situation when it comes to Buy-Mageddon. I don't want to have 4 players. I don't want to have all my wide receivers and just be playing scrubs. I don't want to have to get rid of a player that I like, that's healthy, that's performing for me just because out of desperation.
The boss, welcome to the cross, stranded in the land of the lost. Standing up, I'm sideways. I'm blazing up the path, running on the highways.
All right, Moose, we are back here, and we're going to bring on my guy, Steve Buchanan from DraftKings will join us now. Hey, so what was with the shot at Derek Jeter last night from you on social media?
But was that a shot? I was just speaking truth. Where was the lie?
Well, I think one of the great plays in Yankee history.
Oh, was it? Oh, I thought it was one of the most dramatic plays in Yankee history. That's what I perceived that as. He had plenty of room to stop. He never needed to go into the stands. He just wanted to replicate what Pokey Reese did, which was a much better play, by the way, in June of that same year. He wanted to try to one-up it. It was completely unnecessary. I thought it was a very logical, sensible take.
Yeah, I think that the word that people probably wouldn't like was the unnecessary, yeah.
Again, I don't see where the lie was. I think I was very, very correct in my take. And you know what? Nobody was even pushing back on it. So in the land of Twitter, when everyone wants to call you out when you're wrong, I didn't really see anything.
Yeah, I mean, you got a producer here that's a Yankee fan. You got Moose that, lives and breathes Yankees. I like the Yankees also.
Great win last night, by the way.
Great win last night. Aaron Judge is the best player in the history of baseball, right?
Great.
Like everything that he's ever done. Yeah.
I'm
just having fun.
This is a great show for me to be on.
Yeah, right. No, so can we spend the next 18 minutes or so? Can you just tell us about your affinity for the New York Yankees?
I mean, boy, 18 minutes. I don't think that's enough time.
Steve, let's talk. There's a lot to get into with you. Let's, when you look at that American League East, right, and you look at that division right now. Way the Yankees are playing here in the month of May, Rays got off to an unbelievable start. Orioles have been a really good surprise team with all their young players. Yeah. How do you think this division plays out as we're inching closer and closer to Memorial Day weekend?
Here's the crazy part about this, and I kind of came to this thought recently, is that the way that division is playing out, it almost feels like the whole American League is going to revert back to like the early 2000 playoff format, where you either have to win the division or you're not making it to the playoffs, because we legitimately might have 4 teams come out of the American League East to make the playoffs. When you think about it, right? If all those teams continue to play at the level that they're playing at right now, you might have the division winner and then the 3 wildcard spots are all taken up by American League East teams. That's absolute insanity when you think about it, because there are other good teams in the American League. Like, you look at the American League West, like the Rangers are playing really well. The Astros are hanging in there. The Mariners are kind of getting off to a slow start, but they're a good team. It's crazy to think that literally all those teams could come out of the American League East. And I think that's going to be really how the playoffs are going to dictate, because if you look at some of the other teams that are on the cusp of winning their division, they're still plus 200 to make the playoffs, because the AL East is so good right now. So it's kind of crazy how this ripple effect is taking place for the rest of the league.
Who's the AL East team you wouldn't buy into?
Man, that's such a hard question, because it's I didn't think the Orioles were going to be this good. I knew I really felt like in a couple of years, they were going to be a legitimate team to worry about. I didn't think it was going to be 2023. And I thought, okay, they got off to a decent start. They'll kind of fall back a little bit. But when you watch them play, they're just good. They're a good ball club. I love the way they're managed. I love their game plan night in and night out. the Blue Jays are just I feel like they're kind of underperforming right now, which is weird to say after they just scored 20 runs last night. I think it was they put up 9 runs in the 9th inning, whatever it was last night. So maybe that's the team, but it just feels so odd to say because that was my favorite to win out of the division before the season began. Like this team is so incredibly good. So I think maybe it's the Red Sox, honestly, because they're just above water, and in another division they'd probably be right there, but they're in the American League East. So I guess that's the answer, and it's kind of a crap answer because they have a team that's in last place right now. But in that division, it's going to be hard to leapfrog 2 of those teams at this point. So I guess it's that team, and that's kind of a crappy answer for me. But I feel like everybody's legit in that division.
Steve, well, we'll talk about which team do you have the most concern about, though, when you look at that division? If you're going to tell me, okay, every team's legit, there's got to be a team that you're the most concerned about that could drop off.
I think it could be the Blue Jays at this point in time. I have some concerns,
Steve, which is amazing when you think about it, because
I know
everybody and their mother before the start of the season, and I'm one of those where not that I hate Toronto. I have relatives that live up in Toronto.
Is everyone and your mother. I like it.
Here's what it comes down to, though. It's one of those teams that on paper, yeah, they look great, but they never seem to put it all together on the field.
They're like the Padres of the American League at this point. That's what it kind of feels like for me. The Padres not putting together yet is absolute insanity. But in that division, I just feel like the Blue Jays might be that team because, again, and I was one of those people who said I think they're going to be the one that come out of this division. But the way it's kind of playing out right now, they're the ones I'm like, they might be the weakest link out of those 4 teams.
Yeah, are we sure that their pitching staff is elite? No. The other thing that I was reading, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, I was reading, someone was talking about, actually, it was Roflo. Roflo was putting stuff on social about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And because he's going to be up for a big contract at some point. Are we sure that Vladdy is the guy that he was that was belting home runs out of Buffalo a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing too, is that when you take into consideration the parameters of that stadium in Buffalo to Toronto, it's like moving from a minor league park to a massive like Oakland Coliseum, right? It was so night and day. So I think that's where you're kind of seeing that, where he had that huge season, obviously, but you come back to Toronto, things are a lot wider and everything. We just haven't seen that offensive production from him. So someone's going to overpay for him because that's the sport that we're in. But yeah, I think he's not deserving of that contract yet.
All right. How do you think when you look at the American League Central, Twins are sitting there 2 games over the 500 mark? I mean, it's like a dearth when you look at that AL Central. It's not like a who's who of Major League Baseball. What do you make of the AL Central, Steve?
It's amazing because there is a lot of talent in that division. And yet here we are, and it's like the Twins or nothing at this point. And for a little while, we didn't even know if the Twins were going to be that team either. But if you look at that division as it stands right now, Minnesota, Detroit, Cleveland, Chicago, Kansas City. That is not how I would have mapped out that division heading into June. But the Twins have been good enough. I don't think they're a good team. Yeah. They don't have enough. Their offense is abysmal. But you can get away with that in that division because everybody else has been just as bad. So one of those teams is going to limp into the playoffs. But it's I can't believe how bad that division is, especially the White Sox, because the White Sox are so good on paper. They are so good.
There's something wrong with Dylan Cease right now. He is, I don't know what it is, but he does not look like the guy he was last year.
Not only that, it's the offense shouldn't be this bad. When you have Luis Robert, Tim Anderson, Grandal, Moncada, you should not be a team that has a negative 55 run differential. Are you out of your mind?
Yeah, you're right.
They should be running that division.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is. I always thought it was Tony La Russa. Maybe not. Maybe it's just that team. I don't know.
Or who do you think is the team that gets Chapman from the Royals?
There's a lot of teams that could use him, honestly, right now.
Velocity is back up. Velocity is back up. I mean, he's pitching to an under 3 ERA. I think he's thrown 18 innings. He's got 31 Ks, so he's got the swing. I mean, he looked terrible last year for the Yankees, but there's going to be some team because that Royal team obviously is just brutal.
Yeah. I mean, he might be a pretty good fit for the Mets, maybe, because obviously the Mets, I think, are a team that could use some help in the back of the bullpen. Obviously, with Diaz being lost for the season, that's something. But I feel like that he's going to go somewhere and he's going to blow up on whatever team ends up taking him. Like he's one of those things. Like he's going to be like a hot commodity, and then he goes somewhere, and it's just not going to end up working out.
And that team's going to abuse him like the Cubs did when they acquired him from the Yankees. I mean, that's the other thing when you look at it.
Exactly. I totally feel that way too as well. But there's definitely going to be a team that's going to overpay for him because the reliever market is always just so undersaturated because so many teams are holding on to these guys. How many teams do you think have a solidified 7th, 8th, and 9th inning guy? Yeah. You don't, right? With the injuries and just all the amount of guys, it's always a market that is looked at that needs help, but there's never enough guys. So Chapman's going to be one of those guys, and then he's just going to poo all over himself wherever he ends up being.
Bukes, I think you do a fantastic job with your daily picks. You give out like your 3 picks usually is what it is. And then you even on social media will give reasons as to why, like you screen grab stuff. We all in this space, like we tend to look at each other's stuff. You're one of my guys. Like when I have my plays, like I do my stuff for Better's Eye in the, like I'll do them the night before, the morning I send them over, then I'm on air here. Typically what happens is I tend to look at your stuff later in the day and go, oh, good. He's got similar stuff to me. I feel good about it. I think you've nailed team totals a lot this year. What have you been finding as an angle with team totals?
The thing is that I feel like is that there are just so many good offenses in Major League Baseball right now. Like if you just sit back and think about it, right? Texas has been one of them. Texas is averaging almost 7 runs a game right now. And yet almost on a daily basis, their team total is always at 4.5. Why? Right? Don't change it. I'm okay with it, right? If it's going to continue to go over like that. But I just think there is such a lack of pitching in Major League Baseball right now. Like good, actual quality pitching. Like guys are getting yanked so fast. And then we're talking about the relievers. Teams need them so much. There's not a lot of great relievers coming out. Like there's been a lot of bullpens that have struggled this year. Seattle's a perfect example. Seattle had one of the best bullpens in all of baseball right now. They can't figure out where to go after the 5th inning or after the 6th inning. There's just no like sense or like plan there. It's just whoever they feel is best for the situation. Like there's no plan day in and day out. So I feel like with the lack of good starting pitching and then these bullpens that just don't have these solidified roles, it's just been a way to kind of attack these team totals because I think that's just really a way to do that. And especially those first 5 team totals, I love those so much. I really do because you're only focusing on the starting pitcher at that point. And if you're taking the over on them and that pitcher is out early, you probably already hit your bet, right? So it doesn't matter if the bullpen comes in within the first innings there. So I think those are really areas to attack because you can really just focus on what I'm going to get out of the first 5 innings. And usually those numbers are either 1.5 or 2.5. You very rarely see over 3.5 unless you're playing in Coors Field or in Chicago when the wind's blowing out 40 miles an hour. You'll see a 3.5. But I really think those are the team totals to attack.
Well, Steve, let's educate our audience a little bit. So in order to attack that, what do you look at in terms of, what do you pinpoint that makes you like one team or another on a particular day? Is it the starting pitching? Is it the way the team is trending? Is it offense? Is it the park? I mean, whatever it might be. What do you like to look at? Because a lot of people get a little bit skittish about playing baseball day in and day out.
Yeah, and I would too if I didn't do this. I'd be like, I'm not touching this. It's the worst sport to bet on. Honestly, it's the hardest sport to bet on. I don't know why I chose this for a profession, but here I am. I cannot say enough good things about going to Fangraphs. Are you guys familiar with Fangraphs?
Yeah, Paul Sporer is my guy.
Yeah, Fangraphs is literally the best website for information, and that's where I start my day every single day on Fangraphs. On Fangraphs, you can actually make a list of the starting pitchers that are starting that night, and you can just see a whole table of all their stats, like literally everything you want to know. And one of the best little sections that they have on Fangraphs is they show the stats the first time through the order, the second time through the order, etc., etc. You can literally see if guys are starting out, well. If they don't start off well, get better later into the games. Like that is really what I focus on here because I want to attack those guys that struggle early. Zach Greinke is a great example of somebody who's going today that struggles early. He does not go deep into games, first of all. And if you're getting him in the first couple of innings, the hook's going to be on him early. So Fangraphs, I think, is something you really need to dive into. It's really intimidating because there's a lot of information on there. But if you can start to pinpoint the good information on Fangraphs, and there's a lot of it, it really makes your process easier and a lot more informative on a day-to-day basis because there's a lot to look into with baseball. That's why I say it's like the worst sport to bet on, but somehow I'm a sucker for punishment and I love doing it.
Glutton for punishment. I like it.
Yeah.
So from a player standpoint, what props have you been enjoying from on the player prop market?
Yeah, on DraftKings Sportsbook, they have a hits, runs, RBI prop.
Yeah.
And I love that.
I love that one. BetMGM doesn't have that. And Bettor's Eye obviously is sponsored by BetMGM. So that's where I have to slant. I love that play by you. Yeah.
It's nice because I used to really like total bases.
Yeah.
Like, Matt Olson is a doubles king. Cool. 1.5 bases for the night. Great. He walks 3 times and scores 3 runs. Well, that's annoying, right? Because he was on base. He did his part. Hits, run, RBI kind of takes away that. Like, what if he walks twice, right? And scores twice? I'm still winning that bet, right? So it's almost like total bases on steroids. And, obviously steroids, baseball goes hand in hand.
Well done.
But I just think it's a way that you can bet on a player's positive performance and they don't necessarily need to get a hit. So if he walks twice and scores twice, great. I'm great. If he walks with the bases loaded, there's an RBI. There's a lot of ways that you can win it. Now, obviously, the odds are not plus money for most of the time. You're getting like -110, -120, but there's less risk involved too as well because with baseball, there's so many different ways that you can win that bet, whereas total bases is just one scenario. He's got to get at least 2 hits or he's got to hit an extra base hit. So the hits, run, RBI is what I've really been focusing on, and it's pretty I think it's only on DraftKings Sportsbook, if I'm not mistaken. So obviously, plug for there. I'm obviously associated with DraftKings, as you can tell, but truly, like, that is a market that I think really needs to be exploited more if you're playing on that website.
And Steve, every Tuesday, tell us a little bit about the new show you got.
Yeah, so DraftKings just recently launched DraftKings Network, which is our own 24/7 fast channel. It's on DraftKingsNetwork.com. It's also on any Samsung Plus TV that you have, but I'm doing it with Jared Carabas, who obviously joined DraftKings last year. We love Jared. I've been a friend of his for a while, but now we're actually together, which is doing a show with Emerson Lossia and Jesse Cofield, but just all things baseball for an hour. It's a lot of fun. It's 5:00 on DraftKings Network on Tuesdays. And just, I love Jared. Jared's obviously a very outgoing personality. If you're in baseball Twitter, you probably are familiar with him, but we have a lot of fun on that show, talk some betting too as well. So I think that's a show. If you enjoy stuff like this, you'll enjoy it on Tuesday at 5:00 as well.
What was the video that Jared just posted about him getting blocked by a certain player? What was this again?
It's by Caleb Ort, who is
Caleb Ort. That's it.
Who is a reliever on the Red Sox. Obviously, Jared is a massive Red Sox, guy. But Jared was like doing like that, like, instead of trashing the guy, he was giving him positive reinforcement. And I think Caleb did not appreciate that at all and blocked him. And then Matt Strom from the Phillies was defending Caleb Ort. And it's like, Strom is in Philly. Like, what are you getting involved for? Like,
wow.
But he came to Caleb Ort's, it was like his knight in shining armor, I guess.
Like, don't talk nicely about Caleb. I know what you're doing.
And the worst part is like, it's clearly a bit. So you're taking it, Matt Strom is taking it very seriously. So I don't know Matt Strom personally, but the guy has no sense of humor, clearly.
Steve, who's the team in the second half? Who's the team that's struggling now in Major League Baseball that goes on a big summer run?
Is it okay to still say it's the Cardinals because they're kind of going on a run right now?
Everyone says the Cardinals.
Yeah.
The stench from San Diego is overwhelming. Like, something's wrong with the Padres.
This is what I worry about with the Padres, is that we're heading into June and they just still look completely lost at this point. And there are other teams in that division that are playing pretty well and are still playing well, like Arizona. Like, I'm not saying that Arizona is going to end up finishing in front of San Diego, but it's like, I know the season is extremely long, but it's like, you can't afford to go on these type of stinks for this long, especially in particular divisions, NL West being one of them, NL East, another one, AL East, another one. The only reason I say St. Louis, I know it's not the flashy answer at this point, but it's like their schedule for the next week and a half is all teams under 500.
Yep.
Like, they are just going to feast at this point. And you can still get them at like plus 260 to win the division at this point. Like, if you're not jumping on that yet, like, you should have done it yesterday. So maybe that's not the great answer. I just worry about San Diego. It's one of those teams that is like, maybe they're just actually, there's too many good players on that team, and now they just can't mesh together. Like maybe you just don't, they just don't have that chemistry or something. Because honestly, for me, it's like if you didn't start meshing when Tatis came back, that's not a great sign. That was supposed to be your last guy, and now Machado's out for a while now too. If I'm correct, yeah. So it's wild to see how much that team is struggling right now.
You are a baseball guy, but is there what other sports do you, whether you just follow or bet on as well?
Yeah, NFL is another sport that I really get into, like everybody else. I mean, I think everybody's an NFL guy at this point. If you have a Twitter account, you're probably an NFL guy at this point. So I don't honestly, I'm so glad I don't dabble in basketball, because the amount of anger that I see from basketball bettors, especially like with the Celtics and Miami Heat series right now.
Yeah,
I'm so glad I didn't get into that. Like, baseball's terrible. Don't get me wrong. I think basketball is a close second, at least from what I see on Twitter, from the outside looking in.
Twitter's always right, by the way, too. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Of course, I learned that a long time ago.
Steve, last one for me, it would be futures NFL. Are you a big futures guy? Like, do you look at win totals?
Yeah.
OTAs going around. Like, is there anything that you pinpointed? Do you play divisions? Do you look at the Super Bowl market? Are you bullish on the Jets? Are you fading the Jets? Like, what have you hit here early on when you're looking at football futures?
One of them I did hit already was Jacksonville to win the division. I do think that they took that right step, and they are going to come out of the division next year. Because I mean, that division is pretty putrid to begin with, but I think that's one that I really hit on early. I'm also really looking at the Chargers to go over their win total too as well. I love what they did during the draft, getting another wide receiver in there, because they have those wide receivers with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, but it's never like a tandem. It's always like one or the other, because one of them always seems to be hurt. So I like what they did during the draft. And I think that's going to really kind of propel them to the next level too as well. I just would like to see him just get a little stronger for that offensive line in front of Justin Herbert, because I think that's been one of their biggest issues, because when he's got a clean pocket, boy, that boy has an absolute cannon. And I feel like they're just like that one small step away from really kind of being the probably the second team out of that division. But I do really like the Chargers heading into this season as well.
And I'll finish with a hard-hitting question, because we have to. The new White Man Can't Jump movie, will you watch it?
There's a new one?
You're a punk, all right?
Steve, just say no. Like, Keith, Steve, you
have to understand. Last night telling me that it was just plain good fun, that he watched it and he said
that
said this? A buddy of mine.
Who was he?
His name is Dan.
Was he of sound mind? Was it Dan Servadidio?
It wasn't Dan Servadidio, but I mean, this Dan did dabble in things in college that would mess with your mind.
No, the movie's terrible. Just Harlow's in it. I mean, it's awful.
Jack Harlow, yes.
That does sound terrible. I have to admit, that sounds horrible.
Come on, Stevie Bukes. I thought you were going to be on my side here.
There's things I'm more than happy to be on your side with. That ain't going to be one of them. Or the Jeter play.
I'm going to try to
Jeter play.
All right. Well, I'm actually more on board with you bashing Jeter than you telling me you won't watch the new White Man Can't Jump. How you feel about that?
I think that's progress. I think that's a good friendship.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, best of luck with the new show on DraftKings. That's awesome, man. You're great. You're fantastic at what you do. Memorial Day weekend, burger or hot dog on the grill?
Oh, hot dog. 100% hot dog.
Not even close.
Yep. Oh, it's not close at all, because you know what? They always burn the crap out of the burgers. They're never good off the grill.
That's true. You're right about that. Steve, have a great day, brother. We appreciate it. You
guys, thank you so much.
DraftKings, check them out. Check them out on social media, on Twitter as well. You keep on talking about that. The movie's terrible.
You haven't seen it. How do you know?
I
haven't seen it yet either, by the way.
All right. Can we, like,
I'm going to see it.
When they did the Space Jam remake,
I was
good. Like, that movie is going to be terrible.
It wasn't good.
Like, oh, how do you know? I'm like, because it's just going to be awful.
Yes, it wasn't good.
And the movie was awful.
Correct.
Like, to the point where I watched it with my boys, they were falling asleep. They're like, can we go watch the original? This is awful. Like, the second one was just dreadfully bad.
How about when they redid Point Break?
Hold on a second. So I'm going to take a movie, White Men Can't Jump, that has got Wesley Snipes, Woody Harrelson, two very good actors, right? Woody, a better actor than Wesley Snipes, but two very good actors. I mean, at one point in time, Wesley Snipes was, I'm dating myself. You're going back 20 years ago.
He was an A-lister.
Wesley Snipes was an A-lister. He was a huge movie star. Rosie Perez was in the movie.
Sure.
And she was an A-lister at the time as well. So and now I'm putting in Jack Harlow as
Yeah,
Woody
and some guy
Harrelson's
that I don't
character,
know, and then
some
some
other
guy that I don't know
and
his name.
I'm going to do a remake here of White
Yeah.
Men Can't Jump.
Yeah. The
No.
trailer looked funny.
No, it doesn't.
It did. It looked good. It looked good.
Stop. I mean, no, it's awful. Just admit, like, the movie's going to be bad.
I've been told it's just a few F-bombs in there, but otherwise nothing in there that you can't kind of gloss over.
That's the problem.
Oh, you wanted, you need
that's the problem. The other movie, the other movie you should be watching with your kids. Like, you can't take White Men Can't Jump and make it better than the original and then make it a G-rated version. Like, that's not going to work.
But they have a blowtorch in this. There's a blowtorch.
Like, it's an insult to me as a human being to replace Woody Harrelson with Jack Harlow and think that movie's actually going to hold weight up to the
Jack
movie.
Harlow's a better rapper than Woody Harrelson.
No doubt. We're not talking about rap battles.
I was confused.
This is not a rap battle. I'll give you that. Yes, he's a wonderful artist. I agree with you.
I'm going to try to watch this weekend. So this weekend,
Don't ruin your Memorial Day weekend.
I want to watch it this weekend.
Don't.
You think I can
School's
force my entire family to sit with me?
No, don't sit down. No, don't sit down. I mean, listen, I get if Boston gets eliminated tomorrow night, then there's other than baseball, there's not going to be much to watch. I mean, the Stanley Cup playoffs have been terrible.
Yeah.
The finals have been
first
awful.
time in a while where the Stanley Cup playoffs have just, like, you kind of go through, and I mean the opening round had some good stuff going on, but like it has been a kind of a lull right now.
Well, you've got the conference
2-3-0s.
finals, 2-3-0s. And now listen, Dallas deserves to be down 3-0.
Panthers Hurricanes has been a good series.
And Panthers Hurricanes has been a great series. It was 1-0 game 3.
Yeah.
Carolina lost the first game in 4 overtimes, lost the second game in overtime. Kachuk has been an unbelievable rocket ship of a star here in the postseason for the Florida Panthers. But, I mean, the Dallas Stars have become unglued against the Vegas Golden Knights. They just have. But we're well on our way to getting Vegas and Florida in a Stanley Cup final. Now, that's not going to light up America. I get that. I understand it. But they're the two well-deserving teams. And what the hell was Jamie Benn doing last night where he gives the cross-check to the neck, chin, face area of Mark Stone and gets a 5-minute major game misconduct, gets thrown out of the game basically 5 minutes into the game. Dallas loses the game 4-0. I mean, if Andre's not going to get any help, nobody's going to score goals. That's going to be a problem. It's like Dallas couldn't overcome the fact that they blew the 1-goal lead under 4 minutes to go in regulation in game 2.
Yep.
And last night they go back home, and I was expecting, we talked about it yesterday, I thought the Stars were going to win last night and make it a 2-1 series. They don't. I was just surprised with the way that it went down. I'm surprised that a guy like Ben, who's a captain of the Dallas Stars, is getting thrown out of that game for what was really a dirty play early on in the first period.
And it was a weird dirty play too. Like, I would love to. Baby J is ready to call in, which means we're going to get some singing here. We'll take a break in a second, and then we'll get Baby J in here. But it was a weird dirty play, by the way, because Ben hit him, Mark Stone, and then as Stone was on the ground, he kind of just jumped on him and went like that with his stick into his head. Like there was no necessity whatsoever. Like, even if he had a cheap shot from behind, it happens where you're like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, he didn't turn. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm still hitting him. He was on the ground. And then, all right, so I watched it a few other times, right, Moose? And I was trying to figure out, like, because I tend to try to think the best of people when I can, just like I try to think the best of this movie, White Man Can't Jump. I think Lance Reddick as Benji is probably going to be awesome. But, like, so I was trying to watch this and figure out, like, all right, was he breaking his fall? I kept rewinding. No. Was it something where he couldn't do anything? No, he couldn't. Like, he just went down, boom, smashed down like that, got up and acted like nothing happened. And then he didn't talk to the media afterwards. And Pete DeBoer gets stuck trying to talk about it too. It was something else.
I feel bad for DeBoer. I do.
Yeah, rough spot for him.
A tough spot. I mean, his team came. I mean, we're unglued last night against Vegas. Vegas, congrats to them. I mean, they're going to get back in a team that's early on in their stewardship in the National Hockey League is a franchise. They're going to get to their second Stanley Cup final. I mean, because they're not losing 4 in a row to the Dallas Stars. They lost in the Stanley Cup final to Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals a couple of years ago. Now they're going to have an opportunity to derail what has been the locomotive train of momentum for the Florida Panthers, who we talk about unbelievable run to go through Boston, Toronto, Carolina, and then potentially Vegas. If Florida should win the Stanley Cup, fantastic run.
As good of a run as you've seen.
Yeah, no question. No question. Hopefully the Stanley Cup final ends up being a better series, a longer series than what we're seeing here in the conference finals. We'll come back. Baby J is warming up the vocal cords because he's getting ready to sing after losing the bat with Matt Deutsch. We'll get to that. Touch upon the National Football League, into a little Jets and Aaron Rodgers. We'll do that next as well. It's Moose and Keith with you on a Wednesday right here, Better Sports Network.
Moose and Keith. Weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern.
The word genius is there. Bob Glauber, it describes him. Bob, so when's the last time that Twitter defeated you? Because I've been defeated by Twitter today.
I'll tell you how Twitter defeated me one time. I had the mistaken impression that the year that Troy Polamalu won the Defensive Player of the Year, it looked like it was going to go to Clay Matthews Jr., and I tweeted it. And there was a guy on the media bus. He was like, oh, yeah, he's got it, a guy I trust. I won't tell you who it was, but his initials are Mike Garafalo. So I went with it. Got a DM from Rich Eisen, NFL Network. He goes, you sure about that? I go, oh, man. Oh, I just got this wave. Because, like, accuracy to me is really important. So I'm literally on the media bus. We're just getting back from media day. We are slipping and sliding in Dallas. It's snowing. I get off the bus. I open my laptop. I'm hunched over. And I just, like, literally people are passing me. Bob, what's wrong? And it was Polamalu. And Adam Schefter had retweeted me. Trey Wingo had retweeted me. I'm like, oh, I'm dead.
So when it's Polamalu, then how do you handle that? Like, what was the subsequent tweet
I think
afterwards?
I said, got some bad Twitter info. I didn't put Garafalo's name on there. I had to
10 years later, you can out him. I like that. Yeah.
You know, he wouldn't mind that. He knows the stories.
Yeah.
He actually said to me, hey, Bob, I think you might have jumped the gun on that. I was like, oh, crap. There we go.
Campus to Canton on the Better Sports Network.
Would Dion bench Shedeur?
I don't think he would.
Like, how bad would it have to be? Because we've seen horrendous quarterback play from this Colorado team for the last, 5 years? JT Shroud, Brandon Lewis, just terrible quarterback play. Like, they were 131st, which is dead last in pass EPA per play. Obviously, it will be better, but how bad does it have to be for him to bench his own son? Like, I'm not sure he will ever either, like, especially with the attitude that he came in with.
If they don't get Rashada, who do they bench him for this year anyway? I don't know that there's another answer on that roster that you go to. They don't really have a guy behind him, so I don't even know if we would know the answer to that until the next year, assuming that, he doesn't declare for the draft, he returns, they bring somebody else that's competent and behind him.
If they're going to do this the Lincoln Riley way, next year would be the class to bring somebody in. Shedeur Sanders is going to be a third-year player, so he's going to play 2023. I don't think he's declaring for the 2024 NFL draft, so he's going to play in 2024 and then declare for the 2025 NFL draft. And let's remember this, he hasn't had a full recruiting cycle at Colorado. He will have that next recruiting cycle, so maybe he could get one of these class of 2024 quarterbacks that ever come to Colorado.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Better Sports Network.
You can call that mental freeze when these people talk too much. Put that shit in
Moose, you know what I just saw on social media? And welcome back. It's
A
Moose
White
and
Men
Keith.
Can't Jump trailer?
No. But
Jack
I think
Harlow saying, go watch White Men Can't Jump on Netflix?
no, I think it's Hulu. By the way, I think it's going to be
Hulu,
amazing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do you know today is National Mike Day, as in MIKE? It's a day that is designated for all the mics across the world. Doesn't matter your age,
That can't be true.
race, religion. I know, I'm having fun here. All that matters is your name and the special meaning behind it. It is actually on nationaltoday.com. And that's there's a website, and every day has 9 different things that it stands for, by the way. And then right away, Mike Golick Jr. retweeted it and wrote, "Happy Mike Day to all the mics out there."
I
want that to be true.
Oh, yeah, I'm so gullible. Let's be honest. You're like, you idiot. I'm just playing along here. Like, come on.
Tomorrow's Happy Moose Day. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I had no idea. I would be it wouldn't be surprised every day is it's just like amazing.
Teresa Matthews in the chat. Yep, with smiling face,
yes.
loving it. All right.
Is Baby J with us?
Do we have our Voice of America?
Oh, he is. Oh, look at him.
Oh, he wore the pink.
He's got the pink. Baby J, you ready?
Not only do I have pink, I also wore my South Beach sneakers for today, all right?
Wow.
If you're going to do it, you got to do it right.
Yes.
Let me give a shout out to Teresa.
Did we just lose him?
Baby J, where
you guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now. I think you hit.
Oh,
you
no.
just hit like the camera.
I lost
function?
volume. I can't hear you.
Can you do something? Blink twice if you're okay.
I can't
Baby
hear you
J,
guys.
call us back.
Are you being held captive?
Call us back. What's going on here?
Is everything
such
okay?
That is such a tease. That really
Oh
is.
my god.
That is such a tease. I'm
That
like,
was
wait a
amazing.
second, what's going on?
Oh, pink shirt. I got
Like
myself
I can
pink
understand
shirt.
it when we had Ferguson on and he was in a car after he just dropped his kids off.
Yes.
Like Baby J looks like he's in an office.
Oh, I like it. Wally and Jay in the chat are calling him out, saying he's lying, he's procrastinating. This is all
Wally
fake.
just called you a liar, Baby J.
I just wanted to say I hate those two guys. They know that.
Jay Cabasa, you're procrastinating.
Yeah, I don't know why Wally had to make mention about my T-shirt. It is an adult medium, okay? All right.
No, youth small. It's a youth small.
I don't wear youth anymore, man. All right.
No, I understand.
I shop in the big boy.
No, you can pull
section.
it off. So those abs are popping in the summer.
Moose, Keith wears a 16 Husky now.
Dude, I always loved when I'd go to the department store when I was a kid, and my mom would be like, "Where's the Husky department?"
Oh, oh my goodness! All right, so Ernie, you
My
tell
dad
us,
called it
Ernie. Let us
dungarees
know,
instead of jeans. Okay, Baby J. What?
Ernie, how are we doing this? Ernie, you have the music to play for us.
Ernie, turn the music all the way up. I need to hear it here, you know? I got to put the headphones on. I got to hear it.
All right.
I need more snare. Can I get more snare?
Listen.
Here it is.
There we go. Shout out to my man Wally and Jay Cabasa. I hate both of y'all. You ready?
Yes.
I'm trying. Here I am in the place where I come let go. Miami, the base and the sunset low. Every day like a Mardi Gras. Everybody party all day. No work, oh play, okay. So we sip a little something that's less to spill. Me and Matt at the bar running up a high bill. Nothing less than ill when we dress to kill. Every time the ladies pass, they be like,
love your high.
All ages and races, real sweet faces. Every different nation. Haitian, Spanish, Indian, Jamaican. Black, but end up being
yes.
Oh, he nailed it. Going to Miami.
Jay, that was awesome. Fantastic. That was great.
Keep it going.
Going to Miami. Bienvenido a Miami.
Yo, I heard the rainstorms ain't nothing to mess with, but I can't feel a drip on the strip. Ladies just fully equipped. Every time you snap, they be like,
love you.
Something better get felt than 500 degrees in the Caribbean seas with the hot mommy screaming.
Hi, Poppy.
Every time I come to town, if you spot me in the drop, that thing ain't no stopping me. So cash in the dough and flow to the stash.
Oh, I love it.
I gotta plead the fifth. Nailed it.
Well, Baby J, you are a man of your word, and you deserve Wally Montero, Jay Cabasa, everyone at Teresa, Matt, everyone at our chat session. Got to give you mad props. That was Baby J. That was fantastic.
We tried. I would have kept going. I'd done the whole song for you, but
it was amazing. It was amazing. You did an amazing job.
Now let's do Gloria Estefan. No, it's kidding.
My wife loved that show on Broadway. She
Oh,
loved it.
I heard it was great.
She loved it. She came back singing Gloria Estefan songs for like 2 straight days.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Jay Cabasa just said your New York City card is revoked. No.
Jay Cabasa don't even live in New York City.
Yeah, doesn't Jay Cabasa live in like England or something? Come on,
I don't know
man.
where he lives. Baby J, great job. Fantastic job. Are you now? Are you in an office building at your job? Where are you doing this right now?
I'm in my office.
You're in your office.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Love it.
Yeah, you weren't able to hear me before because of the way it looked. I was like, blink twice if you're okay.
Is Boston dead in this series against the Heat?
Nah, I think Boston forces a game 6 and then they lose in 6.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah. They showed some life last night. I see them doing the same thing at home, show a little pride, and then game 6 is just, it's over for them. But it doesn't matter. Neither one of them are going to beat Denver. Jokic is just, he's amazing.
Yeah, Jokic is amazing.
Yeah, I think Denver's going to win this. Yeah.
And remember who drafted Jokic in our fantasy draft? This guy right here.
You're right about that. You drafted Nikola
You also
Jokic.
drafted Seth Curry, I think, and
No.
like Del Curry.
No, that was Jay Cabasa who drafted Derrick Rose.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I remember. I drafted Kobe buckets.
Yeah, you're like, I kept receipts.
That's right, Jacob. Right. He's going back to the Derrick Rose MVP year.
Yes. He wanted just one singular season. That's what
Baby
he
Jay,
wanted.
great job, brother. Have a great
Good
day
stuff,
at work,
man.
right, man?
Tell me
Payoff.
I had 1-1. Me and Matt need
Yes.
to do 1-1.
So you guys make a bet on the NBA Finals. Once we know what the NBA Finals are, you and Matt make a bet. We'll figure it out.
Sounds good.
Like it. Later, man.
Good job, Baby Jay.
That's good. He nailed it.
Oh, he nailed it.
Yeah. He was into it, too. I don't
Oh,
care
he
what
was-
anyone says he likes Will Smith. That's what we learned right there from Baby J. Baby J
Honestly,
is a
it's a
closet
great-
Fresh Prince Will Smith fan.
It's like that song puts a smile on your face. I
It,
don't know.
it has to. I think, you know what, like
There's
there are
certain
people.
songs you listen to. I don't care. You don't have to be the biggest Will Smith fan.
No.
You hear that song on, and it's like
That
it
song
makes
slaps.
you feel good. Yeah.
It slaps.
Is that what it's called?
No, it slaps. Will Smith, Miami, it slaps.
Oh, I got the joke.
Get it? It slaps.
Yes. Well, he punched him. He didn't slap.
No, I was more of a slap. It was like a.
I don't. No, it was more than that. It was more. No, it was not. Dude, he's been banned. He's been banned from everything. He lost his mind.
Get away from me!
It was more than a slap. Yeah. It was more than that. But yes, it's a very, very good song. But good job, Baby J, and paying off a little bit of a debt to Matt Deutsch. So a little NFL. Aaron Rodgers yesterday, OTAs, and he's a full participant. And like we said at the time, we talked about it. I basically told you, I thought Rodgers was going to be all in with the Jets, and oh man, is he all in? And he looked refreshed. He looks great.
Dyed
He's
his
at
hair.
OTAs. Yeah, no question about it. Looks like and just like we talked about before, Keith, when you look at Rodgers, I think he needed away from Green Bay. I think the Green Bay Packers need away from Aaron Rodgers. Now, dealing with a little calf issue, which he went through and took a quote-unquote vet day yesterday, did Aaron Rodgers, and didn't do any real work with the team, worked on the side. But, he's there in meetings, and I don't think there's any question about it, is that if you are excited about the Jets, I think everything you're hearing early on here is that you should be really excited about what the Jets potentially could be in 2023.
Yeah, and he's like, because he's saying all the right things, and not even just what he's saying, because there's a difference sometimes between what you're saying and it's how you're saying it. He genuinely looks and sounds happy to be in New York. I think you're right. I think he just, there are relationships that everyone is in, and like you go to like your dating relationships, right? Where you're in a long-term relationship and you kind of know like it's safe, it's comfortable. I could just stay in this and I'll be happy enough, or I could try something else and move on. And I think that that's where Rodgers was in Green Bay. It was safe. It was his first love. He felt very comfortable. But now moving on, it's something spicy, something a little bit new. There's a few new things that are going on. He can try out some new things. I think he's happier here. I think and I don't know if it'll last, but I think right now he's very happy. He's got that glow about him.
I think it's going to last. I mean, I can't tell you year two.
Right.
And I
But
think there
we
will
get a
be
year
a
out of
year
it.
two. I mean, I do think right now, I think everything is pointing upward when you look at Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be out there fading the Jets, rooting against the Jets. We talked to Steve Buchanan earlier this hour. I was asking and kind of threw it out there, and whether or not he was in or against the Jets. And I think there will be a clear line of demarcation. Either you're going to be goo goo gaga for the Jets this year, or you're going to be one that's going to go, I'm going to take the under. I don't think it's going to work. It never works for the Jets. It's the same old Jets. It's an organization that outside of Joe Namath has been known for losing and embarrassing themselves, and same old Jets. It's an easy mark for me. Well, Rodgers is in here to try and change all that. And I think the fact that he looks so refreshed, I think is a positive sign.
I think we have some Aaron Rodgers sound. Ernie, let's roll some Aaron. I think we have two pieces of sound. If we have the one about his excitement, let's air that one first.
Something clicked where you said, yes, it reaffirmed the decision that you made, that you wanted to play and wanted to play here.
I mean, honestly, every day has been that for me. Every day I wake up excited about coming to the facility. Now the commute being 2 minutes really helps because it's just rolling out of bed and heading to the facility is nice. But yeah, I have an excitement about coming down Jets Drive, and it was surreal for sure, and strange to look at my locker and see a number 8 or to be rocking Jets gear is a little bit strange for sure. But every day there's been something that's kind of been a little special sign or synchronicity or just a cool moment that reminds me I'm in the right place.
Synchronicity.
What's that?
Synchronicity was the word he used there.
Yeah, I've never.
I don't even know if I've ever heard that word before. A special sign or synchronicity.
Yeah, I've never used that word.
No.
Maybe I'll try and use it, to in the future. I've never heard of synchronicity. I gotta be honest with you, when I heard him say it for the first time, I thought he made the word up.
Yeah, sure. What does that mean? Do we know?
I have no idea.
Are we sure he didn't make it up?
He could have made it up. I have no idea. I didn't go to the Webster's dictionary to see if it is indeed.
I got it for you.
Oh, what
the
does it mean?
simultaneous occurrence of events which appear significantly related but have no discernible causal connection. Such synchronicity is quite staggering.
Oh.
Okay. It's a spiritual thing. That's why he said it. So it's synchronicities or incidents of spiritual significance that asks us momentarily to dampen our self-obsession and consider the possibility of the divine.
Oh, very nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. Love it. Here's Rodgers talking about, do we have the cut? I believe we do.
I hope we do, because this is the greatest cut in the history of cuts.
About his perception of New Jersey before he arrived and became a Jet. Take a listen.
Let's go.
I was walking out to practice today, and we, the media are here always doing little videos and different things. And the video was some do your best Jersey Shore impression, and I just kind of laughed to it. And then CJ Uzama was walking next to me, and he said he never watched the show. I said, how can you not watch the show? One of the greatest shows back when MTV used to actually have content on it. It's phenomenal. But I'm a fan of all of them. I actually went to Pauly D. A Pauly D set back in Vegas, and I don't know, back when I used to go there a few times a year, back in 2011 or something. So
amazing, and he's right. I mean, if you don't, how do you not watch I understand if you don't watch it anymore.
Thursday. Remember,
Yeah.
it would be every Thursday night.
They still try to push the Jersey thing. Jody and I still watch Jersey Shore. I mean, we're 11.
No, you
episodes
don't.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do. We're 11 episodes behind.
To steal a line from my buddy John Hine, that show has jumped the shark. I mean,
11. Oh,
they're
Sammy
squeezed in.
Sweetheart's
I
coming
mean,
back.
Oh, who cares?
I'm all in. And I
Why?
think-
Because she's looking to get her bite of the apple again?
Sure,
She's
it
been
worked
out
for
so long.
Angelina. Angelina came back.
When
She
do
got her bite of the apple, as you would say, made a boatload of money. Apparently,
they all
she's
made a boatload of
engaged again.
money. They've done
Situation is a motivational person now. He's gone through all his life struggles, rehab. He went to prison.
Yeah.
Vinny's like a stripper, but also trying to find love.
Vinny's
Pauly
a
D-
stripper?
Yeah, he was in Chippendales. I think that's the show.
Was he
One of the
really?
seasons. Yeah. He got himself in really good shape and became a stripper.
Oh my God.
And but a classy one.
Yeah, classy stripper.
Yeah, classy stripper.
Yeah,
Pauly-
I've been.
that's a thing, right? Oxymoron. Pauly D's got a girlfriend, for real now.
Yeah.
Dina and Snooki came back, and they're trying to sell wine.
Yeah.
Jay Wow's a mom and very more relaxed now. She goes by Jenny. Rarely ever Jay Wow.
Yeah, but they don't. But here, doesn't it bother you that they look nothing like they used to look because of all the plastic surgery they've had?
The guys still look the same.
The women.
The guys still look the same, yeah.
The women do not look the same.
Yeah,
you would
they
admit that.
I admit that.
JWoww does not look like, if you go back to the first season of Jersey Shore and look
You
at
could
her
say
now,
you can say
and you look at her now, and it's like when the Kardashians tell you we didn't have any plastic surgery, it's all natural, and you're like, no, like no,
yes, Ernie. She broke up with Rodgers. She's
there
with
are
24 now.
photographs. No, that's not true. Like, stop lying.
Yeah. Angelina got a lot of work done too. She doesn't look that much different. I haven't seen what Sammy looks like yet because again, like I told you, we're 11 episodes behind. I think she's coming back in the next season.
Okay, well you're into it. I've long bowed out of Jersey.
Well, the only thing that Jody and I get a chance to really watch, like, because a lot of times, she's very tired, so you need like mindless dribble. And it's just kind of like, yeah, we'll throw on that. We also, like I said, we watch the challenge. And the challenge, the world has been really good this season. Yeah. Down to the finals.
Joey's works full time as a teacher, correct?
Yes, yes. So she's walking out the door anywhere from 6:20 to 6:50 in that area.
She's home at.
She tries to get home by around 4, and then remember, like, I'm doing Better's Eye at 6, so like I'll get everything ready for the day and like the night, but she's usually running at least one kid to practice, and then whether it's me trying to get one, like so.
She's got to be like at night. She's got to be just zonked.
Yes, so like even like tonight, like her. So I'm taking Alex to lacrosse, and Jody's got basketball duty tonight because I can't get there on time. So by the time she gets home from basketball practice, it's gonna be like 8:45. So she would have been going since she got up in the 5 o'clock hour.
That's a long day. There's no breaks, and then the weekends you're all over the place. So there's no room to. There's no time to breathe.
No, and that's why Jersey Shore.
What grade does she teach?
6th grade.
6th grade. Oh, so that's why Jersey Shore is the great release.
I think so. Yes. Yeah.
I think it's a terrible show.
I mean, it's not good. Hold on, it's not great.
No, it's well.
There was a time that it was groundbreaking.
No, there was a time. It's one of those shows that's mind numbing. Like you flip it on, and it's like you can't believe like the people are so they're very successful. I know they've gone through a life, but it's outlandish TV. Where the way that the gym tan laundry, the way that they talk,
baby,
yeah, right. I mean all that stuff. So it's almost like I'm trying to think of the right way to put it.
Yeah, be careful how you say this, right? No, you don't want to get canceled by the Jersey Shore.
No. Wally Montero still watches. I can't watch.
Thank you, Wally.
I just can't.
We got to get a Jersey Shore cast member on the show.
I would love to. Well, I'm waiting for that guy. Who are you trying to get? Johnny Bananas on?
Working through his agent. I can't book him directly through him anymore. Like I still talk to him, but it has to go through his PR people.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you talk to him and he won't allow. You have to then.
He said to me, "Can you please just go?" He gave us I passed it along to Ernie. Like he gave us the name and number of his PR person.
Oh, okay.
We just got to go through them. We will.
Gotcha.
This one challenge season just about to end. I think we'll try to see again if we can get Johnny on at some point in the month of June. Like I said, Johnny's into sports too. So he'll
it's cool that Aaron Rodgers, I think, he's becoming. You're finding a little bit more about Aaron Rodgers here than you probably ever knew as a member of the Green Bay Packers. And that's just going to come along with being in New York and being in this marketplace. I don't think there's any question about it. Ernie, I think your microphone is up or something like that because we're hearing someone breathe. I don't know what's going on there, but I think Ernie's microphone was on. But I think we're learning a little bit more about Rodgers here, and I think it's going to be fun to follow throughout the course of the NFL season. A couple other NFL notes. Number one, didn't mention yesterday, but now you're going to get trial basis weeks 13 through 17 because the ratings on Amazon Prime were not particularly good last year, especially late in the season. So now there's going to be a 28-day window, passed through the owners 24-8, barely passed through. Roger Goodell was pushing for it because Amazon Prime was not happy with the ratings. And I'm sure Al Michaels was not happy calling Jets-Jags late in the season as that was a god-awful game. So now you're going to have two opportunities between week 13 and week 17 where Amazon Prime can flex a game into Thursday night. Now, team has to be notified 28 days before. And the NFL also, if you weren't kind of following along, in March, the National Football League voted to where teams now can appear on Thursday Night Football more than once in an NFL season. It can be up to 2 times. So there was a rule it can only be once. Now it's up to 2 times. So, the money rules all. Ratings rule all.
Yeah.
You look at it last year, 185 million people watched NFL games during the regular season. I mean, a staggering amount of people. How many people went to NFL games? A tad over 18 million.
Wow.
So, a lot of people are watching NFL games from home.
Yep.
They're getting billion-dollar TV contracts, Keith. They want to make sure that they give the people at home a watchable game, especially late in the season when stuff is on the line. And you saw that go down to a vote a couple days ago, get approved by the NFL owners. So not only are you going to get flexing on Sunday nights, now you're going to get flexing late in the year on 2 occasions on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone has like big high def or 4K TVs and things like that. Like, you can have a television in your house in a controlled environment, or you can essentially go on vacation to go to these games, right? Like, family of 4 goes to a Jets or a Giants game, $500 later, you're like, all right, that was a fun day. It's expensive. It's all very expensive. So I'm glad, hopefully the NFL, continues to move towards a viewer-friendly game in which it appears they're doing.
Got a question in our chat from Mystery Sauce. Hey, Mark and Keith, do you have any betting advice for the Champions League? I personally do not. No, I do not have any soccer advice. We got to get somebody on to talk a little soccer. We did during the World Cup. We got to get somebody on maybe on a weekly basis to see if we can talk a little bit about soccer bets, because I am not a soccer savant. No basketball, hockey, baseball, NFL, obviously college football.
You like the ponies?
College hoops. I like the ponies. Soccer is not my specialty.
Yeah, me neither. Sorry, Mystery. Doesn't mean that can't keep watching. We got you covered on a lot of other stuff, and you know what? That's a really good idea. Maybe we'll get big fan from Paris.
Oh, love it.
That is awesome. All right, Mystery. You know what? Try to call in tomorrow if you can. All right, let's try to get you on tomorrow. I'll do a little digging on soccer if I can.
Love that. All right, guys. Till tomorrow at 10. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. Moose and Keith, we out. Roll out. Roll